Get Into Gates, episode 6. We are talking Cold Lazarus today. My name is Mitch, and we've got the full team here. We've got Maddie, Brendan,
yes,
Reese,
present,
and Lincoln making a late surge after missing the first 4 episodes. You are back.
All right.
We are Get Into Gate. We are talking nothing but Stargate. We are reliving each and every episode, 1 episode per week. We are up to season 1, episode 6 for the sake of the podcast, Cold Lazarus. This is a full spoilers discussion on everything Stargate, so by all means, join us, relive Stargate, or maybe even watch it for the first time. That's why we're here, because Reese is watching it for the first time as we go back and relive it. Learn to love it with us, or re-love it with us, and watch the episode before we go on, and you can listen to us after you've done that. If you have, continue on now and resume play, go. Cold Lazarus. So I just want to do this again one more time off the back of the DVD. I just want to see what the question is. So 90s. A strange crystal strikes down O'Neill, replacing him with a double that returns with the team to Earth to find the cause of O'Neill's private grief, his son's death. But the double is dangerously unstable. Can O'Neill return home to save everyone and prevent chaos? Find out next week on Stargate SG-1. So good. So what we got? Written by Jeff King and directed by Kenneth J. Garotti. I think they're newbies so far in the Stargate world. So okay, is this like a bit of Brendan hate on Robert C. Cooper? Is that how you feel about Garotti? Didn't think so. I just wanted to... What, did I say something?
Just let a brother hate in peace, eh? Shit.
Well, I guess the first thing we see in this episode is they're already off-world and they're on this crystal desert planet. It's the most unearthed planet.
P3X562. Just
legend. Well played, sir.
No, see, I find it more impressive when Reese does that.
Yeah.
Well, I asked him if he wrote it down and he said no.
Well played. Well played. This is the first world that we've seen that they've been to that's completely different terrain from Earth.
Yeah, they've telecined the shit out of it.
Yeah. Made an effort. What,
if you turn around, you can actually just see the encampment for Chulak or
or Abydos
or
something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so they get there, and it pretty much just starts off on in the world, and then just crystals everywhere.
Yeah,
they didn't travel too far from the.
No, it was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said something about how Daniel suspects they've all been gathered there near the gate
within 10-kilometer radius or something. I think
whatever.
He said
all those blue crystals.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think the last couple of episodes were talking about how they dub in certain sentences just to add it. There's another one in this one. It was a beauty, like at the start where you just said, and then there's a landscape shot, there's a Stargate in the background, and then they're looking at the crystals, and Teal'c and O'Neill start going down, and then Carter goes, I think there's a way down over here. And that was the drop-in line. It's like, well, there was no need for that at all. It's like, why?
It's like they had all the first 10 episodes in the can, and then they've just watched them back, and they've gone,
we need more Carter.
There's not enough Carter. Let's just get her in the DVR booth and just see if she can just throw in a few extra lines here and there.
Just watch it and then just add something to it.
She approaches Robert C. Cooper. He's like, yeah, we'll get her in more.
But this is very much, obviously, if my excellent reading of the synopsis on the DVD wasn't clear enough, this is, no argument about it. This is a O'Neill episode. It's very much O'Neill. Yeah. So much so there's 2 O'Neills in this episode. But from the get-go, it could have very easily... they should have written it a little bit differently, I feel, because the way that they got into the episode of the story, that is, because it should have been more of a Daniel or a Samantha Carter episode, because O'Neill doesn't really strike me as the guy that would care enough about crystals to walk away from the group and then to walk down into another area of crystals and then care enough to even go over and touch one. I think when we see him in the past episodes or even in future, if he gets there and there's nothing exciting to see, he's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Whereas there is crystals, and okay, for us, the audience, it's the first time we've ever seen a planet like this, but I don't know whether it's this episode or another one maybe next week that I've already pre-watched. But they talk about...
some science stuff, like you see him on his telescope in the first
episode. Yeah, that's true.
I think it was just purely a vessel to get this whole, his ex-wife and dead son plot.
I think Mitch is talking about
he's talking about the character's motivation rather than the reason for the
that's
episode
what I mean.
to be
and
created.
I feel like that's what I mean. I feel like they've sacrificed his normal motivation because it's like
Yeah.
the whole point of the episode is Jack coming to terms with his wife and his dead son. So it's like, well, they couldn't do that if Carter was the one who was
No,
doubled,
of course.
or-
I just mean like it would make.
So I feel like
for
they
me-
have sacrificed his internal logic, just to get the doppelganger O'Neill.
But for me, like I'm not a writer, and even if I was, it wouldn't be a good one. But like, even if it was just as cliche as like they're sampling it or something, and and he accidentally touches it or something, or he even sees a bit of movement like we see on the crystals later on in the episode, and he touches it out of curiosity because something has drawn him to it, rather than him actually walk away from the group. But I mean, that's a tiny little nitpick.
I feel
really.
like they did need to take another pass on their script before they actually put it into production.
For me, watching it, I was sort of like, he's letting bloody Daniel do his science thing, and he just got bored, and he's like, "All right, Tilk, I'm going for a walk, man."
Yeah.
And then
So maybe
sort of
that was
wandered off at that type of way.
That really was true O'Neill actually going for the walk and stuff.
That's,
You're
that's
right.
what I got out of it the first time. They're like, "Where's O'Neill?" I don't know. Looking for an
But
oasis
I
or something.
feel like this episode in general, that they gave us the full Monty straight up by pointing out, like, knowing straight away that it was a doppelganger O'Neill. I feel like maybe would have had a more...
Sorry that we did.
Yeah, like the audience knows straight away that this is a double O'Neill, or something's happened, because you see standing up O'Neill and lying down O'Neill next to each other. I feel like if they'd hidden that, it would have been a little more interesting. And the
Nah, for me, man, I was hooked straight away as soon as that second one came, and I'm just like, what the hell just happened? Like, I thought my first instinct was, okay, it's them, but in a parallel world, and then he's taken over, and then
I just feel like the big act break was O'Neill coming through the gate, and it's like, holy shit, it's a second O'Neill. But it's like, well, as an audience, we've known that all the way along, so why would you like do an act break and a commercial break and fade to black on that? I thought was a really interesting...
Well, in a way, I guess for us, if we didn't see him wake up, we don't see him run around looking for the team, we don't see him dial the Stargate. It's just he's there, and we're like, oh, he's fine. Like, for all we knew, he was permanently unconscious until that thing went back or something, you know. So, I see both your points. I think, they...
I really enjoy knowing things and seeing characters react to it.
Yeah.
I find that really fascinating. It gives me...
I think it is
massive
a
hard-on.
very different writing style. I feel like in later seasons of SG1, you're basically like the fifth member of SG1, and you're discovering things as they discover them. It's very sort of uncommon during an SG1 episode for you to know something.
Law and Order style.
Yeah, for you to know something that SG1 doesn't. So this is kind of that weird thing where we're in on it. We know that is an O'Neill, but the rest of the team doesn't.
I'm like Reese, because that's what, for me, that's what science fiction is. They set up a premise and you're like, oh, awesome, it could be anything.
Yeah, how is this happening?
And then they kind of go on and to explain it. And
because we don't see it like grow or like you know
that's
you
right.
know, part of it was cool, kind of cool, just surprised you're like, what that's him.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
You're leaving without the real one.
And even just the music they use before they go to the opening credits was him actually going through the Stargate, and then everyone else walks by. They're all getting scanned by the radioactive guys. And they're like, okay, go off to medical, and then we'll debrief in half an hour or whatever. And this, O'Neill double is looking around at the embarkation room, and
that look was priceless.
And the music they used then, and they continued to use, was very much set up like a bit of a horror movie. Like at that stage, it's a bit slasher, and then later on, when he actually, and probably just to do with the fact that her name is Sarah, when he's standing across the road from the house watching her, and he's like, "Hello, Sarah." Yeah. Hello, Sarah. Yeah. And I'm like, man, he's the Terminator. I was just waiting for that.
Walks past, you see a laser pointing thing go towards her forehead. Like, you know,
Sarah O'Neill, yes. But then, I mean, you feel bad for O'Neill. Sure, he's been doubled, but then, they go back, and for whatever reason, this is the mission where they go, okay, now you can have some time off. Coincidentally, when there's an alien now taking over one of our own people. But
that's just
O'Neill's like, sweet. Yeah, no, whatever. No. But it led me to this bit where O'Neill gets up. He's like, all right, I'm leaving. Obviously, not O'Neill, but the alien to go off and search out the family for reasons we find out later. And then Teal'c's like, where are you going? He goes, I'm going out. And he's like, you have promised to show me your world. Can it be? And he's like, no, not today. And I'm like, oh, you poor bastard. Because then in the next scene, we hear Daniel and Sam talking about how they've known Jack, or Sam saying, I've known him for months and I've never found out about his family. Now, if we're watching one episode per week, it's only been 5 weeks, 6 weeks since the start of the season. In story time wise, we're then finding out since Children of the Gods, it's been months. Now, that could be 2 months, could be 4, whatever. Either way, Teal'c, since he come back and joined the team, he's been stuck 26 floors underground. He hasn't seen the outside
hasn't
world
seen
yet.
daylight
You
unless
poor
he's off world.
bastards.
Yeah, the
Because
poor
then we go
bastard.
into their rooms
Like,
and it's,
all he
they may as
does
well be
is
in a
just-
jail cell.
Yeah.
And he's looked like he hasn't even turned on a TV ever.
Yeah.
As soon as he turns the TV on, he's like, what the shit
The
is
dude
this
would
place?
just be sitting there training
What has he
and
been
jacking
doing?
off to Jafar porn. Like, that's all he can do.
Oh my God, that
Get
would
the symbiote out.
Oh.
Get it out.
Open that pouch for me.
Oh, wow. Look at Matty.
Wow. That's a visual I just cannot get out of
Just
my head
pretend
now.
it's Vala, mate. You'll be all right.
Yeah, it was. You're right, Matty. What you touched on before, I think it was a story that they needed to do, and I'm surprised they did it this early. But it was, I guess, a nice spot to move past the O'Neill that we knew from the movies, because in the year between the movie ending and the storyline picking up for the show, clearly O'Neill had become a little bit less, uptight. He took things a little less seriously, but still, he's obviously got these hidden demons and whatnot. And to get to really let Richard Dean Anderson become the O'Neill that he was only ever going to be, because like you said, and he said in interviews, he was never going to be Kurt Russell O'Neill. We needed this story to happen now to wrap up his personal grief. Still, it's going to sit with him and haunt him a little bit, but it doesn't have to dwell on it because now he's got that closure. And that was really cool. And I actually, I don't mean to get all personal about it myself, but I haven't watched this episode since I've been a father. So I'm watching this. He's got a dead kid, and my wife's name's
wondered
Sarah.
if you were going to get a bit.
I'm like, oh man, I can't do this shit anymore. Like, he's got a dead kid. He's saying goodbye. He's getting closure. His wife's name's Sarah. I'm like, no, not doing it. Not doing it. Don't you make me cry, Richard Dean Anderson.
No, I'm the same. I did write that down, except I kind of prefaced that with saying, I don't mean to be such a patronising cunt, which you didn't have the decency to say. But yeah, you do. Being a father, it does change the way that you feel. And I was more emotional about it.
Which is why me and Reese are emotionless as f***. Yeah, boys.
But it was
No, I
kind
do
of like,
have kids. I do have kids. Probably like 20 of them. I
you
just
just
don't
don't
know.
know him. You just never met him.
Until you
And
meet
it-
them, you're emotionless, you're cold, you're heartless.
And in Breaking Bad, there's a scene where he witnesses someone dying, and Bryan Cranston said he pictured his own daughter there, and that's when he started blubbering.
Yeah, right.
And that, for some reason, that struck a chord with me. So I reckon that obviously it's an extremely emotional episode, and like you said, it's when you're surprised that it's this early. But then you need to get past all that bullshit emotional crap to get to the funny bits.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really must be dead inside, because all I could think is like anytime they cut back to the base and it's just like Carter, Jackson, and Teal'c, I'm like, this is good.
back.
This is great. It's like the Three Stooges of SG1. This is brilliant.
That's a reprieve.
Yeah.
Speaking
like-
of which, Lucky Teal'c did stay behind because they needed that staff weapon, right? This is a segue into the next bit.
Yeah, I didn't. Enough of that gooey show of emotion. I didn't get where they ran in and they're like, "Hey, Teal'c, we need your weapon." Like, is he the only one that can get his weapon from?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's
it's
in
his.
the
You're not
armory.
going to touch it. Oh, you'll give it to a stranger like last episode, but you're not going to touch the stuff. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
'Cause
right.
He's the one that uses it. I guess.
He's so trusted, though. In only a couple of months, as we're finding out, like, he's got it locked up in his personal locker that becomes a female locker at certain stages of the day, as we find out. Because his program hasn't got billions of dollars going into it that they can't have 2 locker rooms.
Yeah.
Well, seemingly there's
How
only,
many
like,
floors?
2 females
I
on
mean,
base
as General
anyway.
Hammond
28
says, it
floors
costs
or
nearly $1
whatever.
billion just to turn a light on. I mean, they wouldn't have a lot to build a locker room and a gym and all that shit. If they
Seriously,
just to turn some lights on, it's $1 billion. I mean, who's the electrical company?
yeah, they need a new contract.
Seriously, like,
Jesus.
how many female staff do they have? Like, other than the Doctor and Carter, like, how many others do we have? Like, how big does their change room need
there's
to
like
be?
the occasional
At this stage.
female
Just
technician.
just change the
And then
disabled
some just
toilet
usually
to
get
a-
killed somewhere. Or...
to a girl's locker room. Like, they
Yeah,
don't need that.
They don't need a lot of. They don't need a lot of space. At
Or
this
on
stage.
top of that, look, if you're really strapped for room, hey, can you just dial that planet where it's no one's on it? And I'm just gonna,
It's going to get
that's
dressed.
the women's locker room planet.
The waterfall planet.
Yeah,
just-
yeah. I'm just gonna go over there,
shower.
take a piss, take a shit.
That would be
Get out of my
some
fatigue.
great sort of like
Go
one.
to the toilet planet, bitch.
Can you imagine? That is some one-shot stuff
That
in
would be
canon they
amazing.
could have kept.
Yeah.
Is the SG-1 block toilet.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? We're not going to wait to go up 26 floors in the elevator. That takes too long.
Yeah.
And you're going to stop 14 times on the way up. I'll just dial the desert planet or something and go take it.
Just show out there.
Or just stick.
We're on lockdown. All right, I got to take a bulk.
Or just turn on the Stargate. Just put your ass through it and take a
Yeah, you're pissing into the vent horizon. You just kind of like.
Or, like,
it's to the gold.
God, come at me, Apophis. Come at me.
Piles of shit just come out.
Worse than sending a bomb, you're just sending shitbag after shitbag.
They're expecting gods to come down. They're all kneeling down at the base of the gate.
No.
What is this shit?
It's like the scene from The Lion King. They're up on Pride Rock
God,
holding up
that's-
O'Neill's shit going... Because they think it's a god.
see, here I'm thinking that, what if they don't get that far?
See, Reese? And these are the jokes that you can be in on now. Right?
This is when someone like goes, I'm making a real sci-fi, I'm making a real superhero movie. I'm like, unless they're doing stuff like this,
Yeah.
where you just would really test your limits.
Yeah,
like,
I saw this
I'm
meme
going
and
to take a
it
shit in
goes,
the moon.
if I could use the Force, there is 100% chance I would use that irresponsibly.
Oh,
Oh,
how
simple
fat
as
would you
that.
be? I'd be
Oh.
turning off lights. I'd be getting food out of the fridge from the lounge room, just sort of whatever.
Yep.
It's like
you-
the Patrick Stewart one from Extras, and then all the
Yes.
clothes fall off.
Yeah, instantly. Oh, instantly.
Yeah, of course.
I feel that if you had that ability and didn't do that, you'd be misusing the ability.
Yeah.
That's exactly right,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, could not agree with you
You
more.
can do it
son.
for good. Hell no.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't even know what
We're gonna
show
get-
we're talking about, let alone what
Sorry, back
episode
on
now. I
track.
mean, it's so
Sorry,
much
that was
fun.
my
Well, the essence of the staff weapon, I think that's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
We veered off.
Not-
Let's
not
get back to
you.
really important things like Sarah O'Neill. Like, I can't wait for her to come back.
Well, I was going on your segue about coming back to the SGC, and then Carter and Daniel were like, all right, get your staff weapon. And they go into the gate room, and then Tilk's just gone, poof, and then the alarms go off. And he's like, you did get permission for me to find my staff weapon in the gate room. Yeah, sure. Sure we did. And then just totally left a mess there.
yeah. That's why they...
No, but seriously, I could get in a lot of trouble for using
yeah,
this.
like I could get, I'm
Like-
a refugee. I can get my green card.
These guys already want to cut me open.
That's why that's like their most Three Stooges moment. I was waiting for one
Yeah.
to just go...
Good visuals there.
Oh, like you're using your air quotes, Eloise.
Yeah.
I feel like you can hear air quotes.
Yes.
See? You got that.
You can speak the air quotes.
But is that when Carter starts talking about Stanford as well, when they're going after the crystals? After they shoot the crystals, she says something about Stanford.
She would love to analyze it and in the whatever
And take it
machines
to
at Stanford, yeah.
And then Tilt comes out with
What is a Stanford?
classic.
So when he blasts that crystal, essentially what we find out later is that he's basically killing the energy that's in that crystal. Because
true.
when Daniel sees his own face in the crystal, right?
Mm.
Yeah, he freaks the out.
Captain Dr. Teal'c.
Like,
'Cause
do they want to keep that in the show when that happens? Do they even notice? You know?
The way he said it,
Yeah.
it's kind of well. That's what it was funny because it was a. We were talking about that before. How he's Mr. Tilk.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a throwback to Captain Doctor, and it's like, well, that's Carter, the late
Yeah.
issue Captain Issue Doctor, which they mentioned in a previous I think in the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it was just him gives, do I call it Captain Doctor? I don't know, just
thought it-
Captain Doctor.
I thought it might be one of those moments. Like, have you ever heard, like, in New Hope, first Star Wars movie, they come back from destroying the Death
Never
Star.
seen it. Tell me about it.
What is this you speak of?
They land
What
back
is a
on...
Star Wars?
religious movie?
They land back on...
What is a New Hope?
They went back at the Rebel base, and Leia runs up to Luke, and as far as a lot of fans out there are concerned, Luke, instead of yelling at Leia, he yells at Carrie.
Oh,
And
really?
It's been like the whole Han did he shoot first thing, which now it's like, well, that used to be a thing. It's like Han definitely shot first in the original cuts, but you still see Mark Hamill's mouth open up by saying Carrie, and whether or not they've dubbed it over or whatever the hell happened. I just didn't know whether it was
I think
one
in
of those
my
moments
version
where
I see Carrie.
people haven't noticed it. Like they hear that and go, "Oh, that makes sense." Like but surely, I mean, this is a process. They're making a television show. It's like
it's
Captain Doctor
definitely
must be a thing.
intentional.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed like something like he went to say a line and he said something else, but it kind of made sense to sort of leave it. You
Like
know?
a flub in that fan. Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
We'll keep
maybe
it.
Robert C. Cooper edited
Keep
this as well.
rolling.
Poor Bobby. It was a nice change up in a way from, last episode. Okay, it was a human gone bad, but it was still a quite clear cut. It was just about a baddie. Our good guys versus that baddie. And then the week before, we've had sort of clear good and evil. Whereas this, you got the feeling this guy was bad through the music and the fact that he was clearly on a mission to do something. And then by the end, you just realise, oh no, he was just a nice guy. Like
He's trying to fix O'Neill.
Yeah,
basically.
he hurt O'Neill. He went to fix him. He's like, oh, you're not physically hurt. Oh shit, what's wrong with you? Oh, okay, I'll go across the other side of the universe and try and emotionally fix you. And I don't even know how to properly do that because I don't understand how you hurt. I'll go and figure that out on the way. Like that's a really, really good Samaritan, I feel. Like,
Yeah.
He's very selfless.
He went full. I mean, he could have picked him up and taken him.
Well, look,
back,
maybe
that
he's
could've-
just bored. I mean, he's sitting there as a crystal the whole time.
Yeah.
He's just
like a genie.
Look, I need to do shit. Like,
Do you
I'm
know what
starting
it's
to
like?
petrify here, bro. Like, I need to move.
I got arms, I got legs, I got this blonde chick who keeps throwing me sexy eyes.
Yeah, I'm going.
No, this is gonna get me.
But I'm going to go for the ugly blonde chick instead. Makes
Oh
no
my god!
sense.
Okay, so I have a picture I need to show you guys.
version of a bushy.
Cut towards the end when O'Neill is hugging his wife, and there's a shot. Have you got it there, Mitch? To show the boys. And I swear to God, it looks like Richard Dean Anderson.
We'll put it up on Instagram. So if you're listening to this episode, go to our Instagram page and you can see the picture so you know what we're talking about.
His wife from behind looks like James Spader from the film. It looks like Richard Dean Anderson is hugging James Spader.
Maybe they did that as paying homage.
Check this out. Look at,
As well as
look
the
at that.
chicken.
James, you
Look at
busy?
that. Like, is that a James Spader mullet or what?
That's
Cameo.
Yeah,
That's
the
him.
more you more you look at it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does so much look like.
I love you, Daniel.
Thanks for the TV show.
Hold me.
It definitely showed a different side of their relationship to what we've been told, because you see it in the movie, the two military guys show up to bring Kurt Russell's O'Neill into the Stargate program to go to Abydos, and you see Sarah, I don't even think she was named in that film, and she's just sitting at the sink, having a durry, going, he's upstairs.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's right.
That was it. Like, she didn't, clearly there's some tension going on between those two.
Yeah.
And then the
They've
first
both
episode...
since given up smoking.
Yes, yes, they have. he smoked like a champion in the movie.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was making kids smoke.
But then we find out in episode 1, I think it was, that I think Daniel might have asked him. He's like, "Oh, how's your wife, or how's home life, or something?" And he's like, "Oh no, I got home from Abydos a year ago, and she'd left me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so you guys are really drifting apart. You went off to another planet. You didn't tell her that. Obviously, you've come back, and she's just taken her
Carter
opportunity
didn't
to leave."
overhear that because she had no idea.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
locker room, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's your family."
Well, it wasn't female time for the locker room yet,
That's
so she
true.
probably couldn't go in there. She definitely wouldn't be eavesdropping or anything like that. So, but then in this episode, we find out that like she clearly didn't leave him because she's in the same house. He left.
Yeah, I think she
his-
said that too. You
his-
left me. Or
yeah,
whatever.
his
The woman
telescope.
always keeps the house in a divorce.
yeah.
Well, I mean, he could just find a house on another planet. It's a good settlement.
Oh, I know. He got to have that cool house where he can have his telescope on the roof.
On the roof and stuff.
That's
yeah.
true. That's
Little
true.
Yeah,
tree house with
treehouse.
beers and stuff.
Yeah.
A bar fridge up there.
Just that'd be funny. That is his
Bachelor
address.
pad.
It's just the treehouse.
She didn't know though.
Yeah.
Like she thought, well, I wonder where he's living. It's, I'm in the backyard.
He's got binoculars at night looking into the house.
Yeah.
And I kind of like when he comes up and he's, obviously faux O'Neill, and he comes up and he's delivering his weird line. She's like, "Why can't you just say that?" "I just did." And then she like runs because he starts talking about Charlie. Where's Charlie? Where's Charlie? She's like, "Stop! You're an idiot. Is this a joke?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." Even if he's a little bit delusional or drunk, wherever he's here, do you really think that he would make that statement as a
Yeah.
joke? And then the father-in-law comes out, and you're expecting him to be the cliche guy, like, "You stay away from my daughter. You've broken her heart." And he's like, "Come on, get inside. I'll make you a cup of tea."
Yeah, but I
you know.
mean, for a crystal who's only just learning how to be human and speak language, he's got some good skills.
Son, if upsetting her is your way of trying to win a woman's heart, it's a stupid one. Anyone ever tell you that?
I think you just did.
What did you add at the end?
Is that Family Guy?
That was,
No, that's
that
how-
was Tilk.
That's the episode. I didn't
that was the crystal.
I didn't alter that audio at all. It may be Ashton Kutcher from the 70s show that
was
just
gonna-
popped in to say hello.
When I first heard that, it sounded like an unheard bit from Christian Bale's rant on Terminator Salvation.
La-di-da-di-da!
Honestly, let's just hear.
I think you just did.
It's got a little bit of
Without-
Baileysm
without-
about
It
it.
really does.
Without the canned laughter
Yeah.
in the background.
No, that was the DOP really trying to piss him off.
Yeah, how cool would SG1 be with just like canned laughter after everything? It'd be brilliant.
There should have been,
Especially too.
there should have been like an anniversary episode that did that at some point. You do, indeed.
What
2.5
pissed me
minutes.
off a lot was when they knew that there was a second O'Neill, and they took their sweet time going to look for him. Like, as soon as they worked out, okay, this is the real O'Neill, let's send out a team or someone to go out and find the other one because he's an imposter.
Yeah, well, they go, yeah, he's not on the base. And
It
it's
took
like,
them 20 minutes to
Yeah.
figure that
Tilk
out. I'm
could
like,
have told you that
Yeah.
immediately.
I was waiting for Tilk just to be an arsehole and go, oh no, he left yesterday.
It's
It's
a-
like,
it's
so
a-
why didn't you tell us? You never asked me.
It's
You
it's a
never
military
inquired before.
installation. Couldn't they just check with the guys at the,
The
front,
logs?
the front
Yeah,
gate?
Not
Yeah,
only
exactly.
is it a military installation, it is the most secure military
Yeah.
installation in the world, housing the biggest secret of all time.
You have to take 2 lifts. You have to get a lift from level 28 up to like sub level 14, then change lifts to go from sub level 14 up
Not
to the
only,
surface.
I mean, it does seem like their security is a little bit, let's say, on the budget side. There is an episode that we will visit in a little bit, which deals with an ash rack, and it just has them walking down a hallway through one metal detector with a guard that's sitting at his desk, almost like reading a
Yeah, but I
magazine.
mean-
It's like, you guys really need to up your game here.
You know why?
Nah,
you know why the
they've already
security
got
guard
that.
was missing? They crossed universes. It was Christian Slater. He went across the road to get some orange shirt.
I mean, they.
And then how O'Neill got to his old house
Wow.
was taking a little buggy.
Lincoln really liked that one. No, I mean, O'Neill had to get past that big 3-foot, concrete door that they keep swinging closed
Yeah.
every time they go
Yeah,
down
the
to
door of the
self-destruct.
soundstage. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Let's reuse that again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think they really need to establish a clear line of communication
Yeah.
Yeah.
between the general and the receptionist.
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, they're still setting up the universe because I did notice when Jack is like the real Jack obviously wakes up and he comes back, the technician says, or it might have been Hammond says it, they're receiving O'Neill's authorization codes before the
Yeah.
gate's actually active yet.
Yeah.
So just little things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like,
Things
I
that
thought
they-
it was open, and they're going, "What's
They
why
work
isn't
out-
the iris?" He said,
No,
"Why
it
isn't
was-
the iris shut?"
no, it was still dialing.
They
So it
work
was-
out the kinks in the first series. They
Yeah.
did that a few
It'd
times.
be like,
You're
you know-
receiving SG-1's IDC, and then you hear like 3 chevrons later. And you're like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, so it's like new
What is
time.
it, like a
Subspace
text
technology
message?
already.
Yeah,
There's obviously no showrunner, just like or script supervisor.
Well,
just going,
there was
hold on,
actually
guys."
Robert C. Cooper?
executive story editor is Robert C. Cooper. Boom.
Clearly, Ken Garotti was just like, "F- you, Cooper."
In My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and the grandfather's like, "Give me any." No, but he's
I
like,
haven't seen it. I'm heterosexual.
"Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Roseanne." Miss Caroline in the f***ing city. But there's okay.
Give him a
those
break,
who haven't
guys.
seen-
He's a Vala fan.
There's the line. The grandfather says, "Give me any word, and I will tell you how its origin is Greek." It's like Brendan's like, "Give me any problem with Stargate you have, and I will tell you why it's Robert C. Cooper's fault."
Give me a problem with any TV show or media form at all, and I'll tell you how it's
Yeah.
Robert C. Cooper's fault.
Just strapping things, and then it goes off, and they have to follow. Well, like you said, we're looking for O'Neill, so they've found him. They're going after Sarah or whatever, and then Hammond goes, "Oh, hang on, before you go, Tilk, here's this." He just happens to have a Chicago hat in his pocket. You're carrying that around for how long,
I
Hammond?
mean, that's just
just in case Tilk needs to go off world, and then
Yeah,
this
just like
happens.
you couldn't have given me that 3 months ago.
yeah.
I haven't seen daylight on this planet, mofo. Like, come on.
Chicago, the Windy City, home of the Blackhawks, the Bulls, and the White Sox.
Forget the Cubs.
To drive by O'Neill.
Yeah, his wife's probably going to be murdered by a crystal-like alien, but he's like, "Don't forget the Cubs."
And I know that we didn't see the immediate sort of reaction that she had, obviously when it went to ad break or something, but when O'Neill, as far as she's concerned, real O'Neill, falls onto the ground and starts like pulsating lightning and electricity, and she's like, "That's peculiar." Like we don't see what immediately she does when she calls the hospital. What's wrong? How do I explain it?
He's
Kind of
electric.
generating energy. You know, and then in the hospital when he's falling on the ground, like the electricity of the hospital was like going haywire, and he's sitting there just pulsating Peter Petrelli style at the end of Hero season 1. You're like, he's gonna explode. He's getting radioactive or whatever. And I'm thinking, this is turning into
That's the radiation. That's
This is a bit X-Files in a way. It's like quite clear this isn't a show yet that's talking about like secret government cover-ups, and really there should be, because there's an alien walking around in a Chicago Cubs hat, and they're holding, you know, a wormhole teleportation device underneath a mountain. But obviously, that's the first public thing we've seen in this show that's actually happened in front of the general populace in America. Surely, like, we don't see the after effects of that, where the hospital stuff, like, wasn't there a guy like...
Everyone in the ICU is dead.
Yeah. We had the army here last night. Like,
How
all
do
these,
you cover that
yeah,
up?
like we've got security cameras, man. That guy was like,
This is pre-social media.
He was becoming,
Yeah, it is totally.
he was like pre-Jamie Foxx Electro. Thank God, not so bad, but just on the ground, just like generating, just pulsing, like. And oh no, it's fine. The episode's ended because O'Neill needed closure. And I'm like, but what about those guys? Like, you know, we don't see
That's
the
where the budget from the gym goes to covering up shit like that.
Yeah.
Here's $20. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, like,
Teal'c was just excited to get off base.
yeah. He was really itching for
He
that.
did based on his research, he
Tripped
did have
by
something
Mickey
to
D's.
he did have something to say about his thoughts on planet Earth.
Teal'c, we need your help.
Your world is a strange place.
So's yours.
Thank you, Ashton Kutcher, for chiming in again. And that was great because, yeah, it had a great setup to when he went to leave and he had his staff weapon. They're like, you can't take that. He's like, I have seen your world. I will need this.
Yeah, I love that. Your world's a strange place. Like, dude, you put snake-like creatures in other people's heads. I think we're doing it.
You like cut an emblem into your
Hey, so do
forehead
we.
and
Yeah,
filled it with
yeah.
gold.
What's that on your head, bruh? Oh, right. A mark of servitude. Yeah, in gold.
All
Yeah,
you've
sweet.
done is watch Wall Street on TV and seen how stockbrokers get angry before 5 o'clock. I think we're okay.
You have a vagina where your belly button's supposed to be.
Mic drop. Boom!
Lynx, I don't know about you, but I live on Earth and I've put snake-like creatures in other people's heads before.
Oh, shit. I feel like we've joked more in a review of an episode that is probably the most emotional and trying to be heartfelt so far in the series.
Yeah, and we don't like that.
As we've got three of us on this side of the table are dead inside.
But like what a trippy sort of moment at the end where like the crystal turns into his son and they sort of have this moment to say you can say goodbye and stuff, and
he's like dragging it out. It's like, oh, look at this shit,
it was so
Sarah.
happy, wasn't it?
This will you up.
He was almost skipping Yellow Brick Road style
Yeah,
towards
fully.
his ex-wife. She's like, "Oh, that's my dead son," and he's like, "Yeah. Check this out. He used to look like me. What are you talking about? Nothing. We gotta go."
Yeah. What, back to the Stargate? Shit. We need clearance for this bitch now? Like,
Get Will Smith. Where's the neuralizer?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was harsh when he's like, "Oh, is Sarah and you're still here?" I'm just like, "Oh, you can't do that. Bring out your dead kid to her. Like, she's not even over it
That's
yet."
a real mind. Right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's the bit that got me. I was like, oh, yeah.
not
You
cool,
can't
bro.
do that.
Yeah.
And then what does he do? Like when he walks back through the Stargate and he's like, keep the lights off for me, which is cool. It's like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm just taking him back. I'm going to have a moment to myself with my seemingly son, say goodbye, get some closure. Does he just go and like plant him Baby Groot style back in the sand?
He reverts back to a blue crystal and just sits on the planet by
That's what I
himself
mean, like,
for the rest of his life.
You probably just go bye and then go back through, and then he goes to Crystal.
They didn't even bring the other crystals back as well. He's just like,
Well, they were
brings
all
the kid-
destroyed, weren't they? Was there any others? Was that the only one that was intact? Was he like
Well,
Within a
well,
10-kilometer radius of the gate.
Did they They didn't really specify that, did they? Because obviously he's touched one, and it's become this entity, and they've said it was a mass grave, and you're like, all right, so hang on.
But that thing was the only, like, that was about 2 or 3 foot tall. All the other, they actually
they're
said,
all small
they go,
ones,
none of them aren't
They'd all
broken
been
or something.
shattered,
They said
yeah.
they've all been shattered.
Well, here's an
and-
interesting point. So obviously they allude to the fact that obviously a Goa'uld has gone there, touched one, and gotten blasted back like O'Neill was. So they've gone, oh, we're going to blow all these things up. How did they get them all to a mass grave then if they
Gloves.
touched them?
Yeah.
Gloves.
Jafar gloves.
Those ribbon devices. Rather just those ribbon devices going.
That was one thing that I was trying to figure out. So I'm glad that you guys actually told me that, because I didn't realize that was the only one still standing. I saw that it was a lot bigger, but I was wondering, is that one of a lot of entities that are residing there, or was that the only one that survived this?
Yeah,
like crystal holocaust.
At the same
so to
time,
speak?
what happened with the one that turned into Daniel and eventually Carter as well? Did they like glue it back together, or like did it?
Yeah, that was
was
one
it
that
enough?
just emulated their faces and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And yeah.
But if they didn't find one that was unbroken, then what was that? Oh,
Yeah.
And it was really
they
lucky.
shot it,
Yeah,
and then
because,
it
like-
still came to life after
yeah, because
that.
they're like, what are you? It's like energy, unity, all this kinds of stuff. And you're like, okay, so yeah, what exactly is going on here? They didn't explain that.
And a la Jared Leto Suicide Squad style, it's like when O'Neill gets hit by the blue shard, like by the crystal, he gets blown back into the only piece of sand that doesn't have big, big blue shard crystals that would have
Yeah.
stabbed him in the spine.
Yeah, true.
Well, that's just luck.
But I mean,
and
That's just classic
you start
SG1 luck.
nitpicking stuff like that,
Right
the whole
there.
thing falls apart.
And can I
doesn't
just be
it?
Captain
So-
America in this instance and go, I don't understand that reference because I haven't seen the movie, so I'm like, I'm going to get the reference by the end of you explaining it. I imagine
Oh,
but
he
that
lands
does make sense.
Mitchell,
Yeah.
you are a constant disappointment.
4 weeks and 1 day
Can
since
you hurry
our
up and get
screening.
Roseanne so you can be less of a disappointment?
Waiting for you,
Mate,
Netflix.
I'd be happy if he'd get through 13 episodes of Firefly, but that's never going to happen.
You don't know that.
Ooh.
You don't know that.
You don't
This
know
shit's
me.
gonna have nuts in it.
All right. Well, look, yeah, no, I thought it was a nice little sort of touching episode. The whole O'Neill personal sort of,
It
show.
did
It's-
touch on how awesome RDH is as an actor as well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really put much chop into O'Neill, like being a bit of a loose cannon and clown.
Yeah,
Whereas you do see the two contrasts in this episode.
that's true.
Yeah, and it's almost like he doesn't ever need to prove it again because he's done it this one time. You're like, well, he did it in the story that needed him to do it the most.
Yeah.
So, it's good. Like now we can move on and he can become whatever O'Neill he's going to become.
Yeah.
And for those that have those of us that have seen it, he can become the O'Neill that we know and
Yeah,
love.
this is Richard Dean Anderson's Emancipation episode.
Don't no.
It's the episode that needed to happen, so they can just move on.
I think I said RDH. I meant RDA.
That's all right. We got what you meant.
Richard Dean.
Yeah, that's the way I say it. Richard Dean Anderson.
That'll do us. Get into Gate episode 6. That is Cold Lazarus. Look, better than last week, yeah? Better than last week?
I love that episode. I love Cold
Syphilis is
Lazarus.
better than last week.
And, not to be a patronising as Brendan said, but as a parent, I think it really hit us on another level.
Jesus Christ.
You'll understand if you were a parent. Oh, God.
I
Kill
respectfully
me.
disagree. I actually would have taken the blistering planet dude over this crystal episode. But,
Really?
Yeah. There was
Did you not like this?
I just wasn't. It just no. No, it's just too.
It wasn't Stargatey enough.
That you could not have said it better. It was just sort of the start. Yep, cool, and then after that, it kind of lost me, and I was, all right, go yourself. So I was just like, wake me up when your emotional thing's dealt with, and then we'll go explore some.
We'll go to the Knox one.
I mean,
I can't wait to talk about.
I don't need depth in this show.
He's like,
I need science depth,
Look at-
not
Yeah.
emotional depth.
well, to be fair, I mean, Sarah O'Neill must have heard you because she actually did off, and she's gone.
She's
it.
gone.
She's done.
Yeah.
Goodbye, good night.
Well, when you're going to
Sarah
bring a crystal, like life-sized version of your dead son and go, hey, do you want to say hello to him, or do you just want me to fucking go?
But
Yeah.
even
It's
before
like,
that,
nah,
right?
I'm
Like,
gonna-
even
I'm gonna-
when he first walked into the hospital and she sees him, she's like, hang on, you're in the other room, like, pulsating
Yeah.
with energy. And he's like, Sarah, oh my God. And he hugs her. He's like, are you all right? He goes, I want you to tell me all about it. Not now. But in a second, are you okay? Seriously, you okay? Like, it wasn't like, I haven't seen you in a year and a half. It was, are you okay? Like, he was being just a nice bloke. It was like that nothing truly awful had happened between them two as a, just husband and wife relationship. And then when she was talking to Fo O'Neill, she was there saying, are we going to get back together? I mean, what's going on here? And then at the end, it was like, we were great together, weren't we? We were the best. And then it's like, well, but we kind of understand why we can't be together.
She's
What-
like, yeah,
what?
and then
Why?
earlier she's like, do you want us to get back together? And I'm like, hey, whoa, Crystal. Don't be making lifelong decisions like this. All right? Some bullshit.
Go back and plant yourself in the sand.
Yeah, he could have really messed up his shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Oh,
back to
okay.
Earth and sell your house and get back together with your wife. He's like, you what?
No, you didn't.
I did it. I just managed to get a really good deal in a divorce settlement, and now you want to come in and bring this shit on me? Like you're living in a desert now. You want to be a relationship, motherfucker. Just get.
All right, Get Into Gate. That's episode 6, Cold Lazarus. Thank you for joining us. As always, you can find us on socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, simply at Get Into Gates. You can shoot us an email if you want to talk about this episode, bring up some points that maybe we didn't, skimmed over or whatever, or post some questions ahead of next week's episode, The Knox. Simply getintogate@gmail.com. And if you're not listening to us on one or the other, whatever it is, SoundCloud and iTunes, we are available on both, depending on your preferences.
Why not both? Just compare and contrast. Who
you
knows?
know what? At this early stage, we need the numbers. So by all means, double hit the podcast.
Look, if you're listening
Spread the love.
if you're listening on iTunes right now, there's a completely different recording on SoundCloud, and vice versa. If you're listening on SoundCloud,
there's a whatever you're listening to. The other one is a version where Lincoln loved it and we all hated it. So,
and if there's
Alternate universe.
one episode you want to hear about twice, it's called Lazarus.
God. Maddie, on the socials, where can we find you?
Hi, Pitch Matty.
Lincoln.
Link Lewis. Link_Lewis.
Thank you.
We want to correct, all right.
Shit.
You know what? Link Lewis getting more.
Yeah, whoever that guy is.
I've actually got that tag, actually. So sign that up. I am at the Flying Gibson.
Just scraping the leftovers.
I'm at the Brendan Gibson.
And
Write
I'm
that down.
at Mitch_Lewis. As always, just spread the love. It obviously is on the early days of Get Into Gate. We've just done episode 6, so we'll be here each and every week talking about an episode of the wonder that is Stargate SG-1. So spread our loves, share our posts,
Spread
and
your legs.
by all means, get in contact with us and love the world of Stargate. Basically, we'll be back next week talking about the Knox.
GetIntoGeek.com